Libra, welcome to your September 2023 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. So I don't know if I did a reading with your sign in the last set of readings that had to do with this new deck of mine, the Crystal Magic Tarot, but I'm still using them because I want to really get comfortable with them. And as soon as I touched them, I felt like this strong connection, because they're not like, they're a little bit smaller than my other decks, but they're kind of sticky. And that sometimes happens when you have glossy cards, where they're kind of like, they kind of are really good to hold in your hand because they're it's almost like being magnetic, I think I call it. Okay. This deck, I was just thinking to myself that this deck kind of seems like a Libra-esque type of deck, because it's kind of like feminine. Now, it's funny because Libra is a masculine sign, truth be told, but I always think of like Libra women as girly girl, because they have that Venus type of connection. Even the men, they can be very metrosexual, where they are very much into how they look and, being perfectly groomed and all of that kind of thing. So the heart of the matter is the Four of Cups, and this is a card of the person who, it's funny because I have never drawn this card, so I'm trying to figure out why they have that. Well, I think the snake represents kind of like when your emotions are infested with something that is of the darker side of things. So it's a card of malaise, a card of discontent. And I have actually read an interpretation of this card that it can be a stable relationship, because the number 4 is connected to Saturn and stability or foundations. But yet, the depictions sometimes are of a person who is sad, or at least is very indifferent to their environment. So if you are feeling any of these kind of blah, meh kind of feelings, it's important to acknowledge them. And Libra is one of those signs that's like, no, I have to, I don't know if I'd say put on a happy face, but it's almost, I think you almost feel like it's rude to be unhappy. That you'll bring people down with those bad vibes. But even within yourself, are you willing to acknowledge when things are not quite right? Because Libra is the sign of the scales. So when you're not balanced, that's not a good thing. You have to feel that sense of like all is well on an even keel. And you may not be feeling that way about something. And it could be in the workplace. It could be what you're doing that used to be okay and now you don't feel that way. In the past position, we have the 8 of Swords, which can sometimes be like, I feel, a certain oppressive feeling. Well, it's not really feeling, these are thoughts, but it's almost like you realize that you're trapped by these thoughts. And really, as soon as I see the Eight of Swords, I think of, um, what's that term? It's kind of like the programming that you received, the conditioned um, programming that comes from a lot of times the family of origin. And the person who is not the Libra person, who kind of is oblivious to the cause of all of their negative self-concept, is not going to connect the dots and say, oh yeah, I had a mother, or I had a father, or both of my parents had very low self-esteem, and they would say certain things, but really they were projecting their own negative self-concept onto me. And I realized that at a certain age, if somebody does connect the dots, they can see that it never was really about them. But until that happens, you're kind of like in this place where, being held captive might sound a little bit over the top, but it could feel that way. It could feel that you can't move forward because of what this is representing. But the interesting thing about this is that once you feel liberated from all of that, that Four of Cups will disappear, because you will be doing things that are directly supportive of your happiness, your joy in life, Libra. And you are on the precipice, because in October, you're going to have a solar eclipse in your sign. It'll be the first one in this series with Aries. It's going to specifically be on October 14th, and it's going to be at 21 degrees, 21 minutes of Libra. So that is a powerful new moon. Now, even in the month of September, it is possible that this will be felt by you for some reason. So this is in your first house of the self. So this is really about totally new beginnings in your life. And it's very exciting, because maybe the Four of Cups, maybe and the Eight of Swords, maybe these are remnants of old patterns within yourself that are going to be dissolved, that are going to be consciously let go of. The higher message is the Strength card, and yes, the Strength card. Now, see, I already forgot if I mentioned this. The Crystal Magic Tarot deck, has the crystal correspondences with every card. And the carnelian is actually, I think, connected to the first chakra in terms of the energetic centers. And I have a carnelian. I don't know what happened to it. It's kind of like an orange-red sort of color. And you can see the background of this card is a darker red, or different shades of red. So red is that, I think we would say the will. No, that might be the third chakra. Just the survival mode. And yeah, and actually strength to me would be more of the third chakra, but everybody has their own correspondences. The point being that the Strength card is connected to Leo, and it's connected to this idea of, your own um, sense of self. And yes, they will say self-worth, of course, but the way that you even value yourself, which is what self-worth is by knowing thyself. And how do you know thyself? By spending time with yourself. Libra is a very social sign, so it may not be something that you automatically, uh, are thrilled about the prospect of doing. As you prepare for this new phase in your life, that will be ushered in, at least symbolically, with that mid-October solar eclipse in your sign, you can look at the ways at which you need to kind of raise your vibration. Because it's funny, when I said raise your vibration, it was 11:11 at that particular moment. So that's pretty cool. Because that will, be the portal, the opening to all of these good things coming through for you. And I feel like there might even be this possibility that the reason you might be a little bit not feeling your best is because you are about to experience this, what we would call like a trigger with this eclipse is. Like you're going from one phase to another, and that perhaps it is just par for the course that in between you should feel this maybe the discomfort of making that transition from one phase to the next. But crosses use the Four of Pentacles. And another thing to keep in mind here is that the malaise, or the kind of like the loss of interest, could be not romantically, but in your career. So you may be feeling like your heart isn't into whatever it is that you're doing, but the Eight of Swords can be old tapes that surround maybe issues of financial stability. And the Four of Pentacles can either be that your reality is mirroring that, or that you are making mountains out of molehills, that you really don't have that problem, but you have this irrational fear surrounding it. So if you're somebody who grew up with money being a problem in your family of origin, or if money was used as a control in your family of origin, or it was like overemphasized, like materialism. There's so many possibilities that we as the children inherit. It's like ancestral karma in a sense. It's not so much that it's like genetic, it's just the lineage through the attitudes. And again, with the Eight of Swords, these can be the programming that creates that negative concept about something that isn't inherently true. Byron Katie is a modern spiritual teacher who has a system she calls the work, and it's like 4 questions. I'm just kind of simplifying it, but there are 4 questions, and one of them is it true? You kind of like, it's like an intellectual, I see it as more of an intellectual type of process to kind of parse your negative beliefs to see if you're really thinking about something that is actually true to begin with, or if it's just something that you have created a story around. And a lot of times people just automatically think that something is true when it really is inherently empty of any particular truth one way or the other. It's kind of, it could even be neutral. It's like if a person is in between jobs, some people would, even if somebody had a lot of money in the bank, they might see that as a catastrophe. Like they wouldn't tell anybody that they were unemployed or something like that. And there's no inherent problematic connection to being unemployed in and of itself. Now, there might be some extenuating circumstances if the person doesn't have money, if they don't have prospects, but in and of itself, it doesn't have to be something bad. But we have these stigmas or these things that have been told to us, society has ingrained in us, and so we act like this is truth when it's not. What is coming in is the Three of Cups. This can be some kind of celebration. It may not be, connected to you particularly, but it's how you unite with people in your life. For instance, let's say you are a woman who has a girlfriend who is getting engaged, and you go and meet with her, and you realize that it has been ages since you have been around your friends because you have been working 60 hours a week, or what have you, and maybe like you decide to take off some time, take off a long weekend to be able to attend her bridal shower, or maybe you're standing up in her wedding. And it's not that event in and of itself, it's the catalyst. It becomes a catalyst for you to realize that you have sacrificed so much of your well-being for a job you don't even like. And so it really makes it, so it gives you that full awareness of really what it's all about. Because, going back to this card with the Four of Pentacles, sometimes the desire for that financial security can get excessive. And I just did the reading right before yours was Gemini, and another air sign, and their second house is Cancer. Your second house, which is the house of earned income, is Scorpio. And you may have inner planets in Scorpio like Mars, which can make you really hustle to make that money. But where is that hustling coming from? Is it coming from a motivation of fear? Like, I better get it while I can, because you never know when you're going to need it. And so, what are these sacrifices worth, ultimately? That's something you have to ask yourself. Oops, sorry about that. And the outcome is the Queen of Wands. So isn't that interesting? Right below the Strength card, which is associated with Leo, we get the Queen of Wands, which, come on, this has to be Leo too. There's a lion, there's sunflowers, but I keep seeing that it's Sagittarius. But, fire signs like Sag and Leo and Aries, they're going to have certain themes like positivity, like individuality, that run through all of them. The Queen of Wands can be this idea of how you are a leader. Sometimes this can be that the person is in a position of authority, like a Libra person being a cardinal sign. That might be a natural for you. But I do feel in this particular reading that it is you leading yourself. It's not necessarily you doing this for other people, but it's like, being your own mentor, being your own cheerleader. if you will, because this card can be like the very, positive person in a leadership capacity. But you doing it for yourself, and like it's like following your bliss as far as I'm concerned, ultimately. Because with the Four of Cups, you may have sacrificed your happiness for money. And if you feel that you have, where has it gotten you? Maybe, it's padded your bank account, but it can also have made you feel run down, drained, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind, that everything isn't measured out in dollars and cents. It's also in your energetic levels. Okay, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.